into the horse racing world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The Louisiana Derby.
Big race.
It is a grade 2 stakes race.
Yep.
And $1 million purse.
That'll get people's attention.
It certainly will, but even beyond that,
Yeah.
this race is so important because it is a key prep race for the Kentucky Derby.
Absolutely. Huge points on the line.
Yeah, the top 5 finishers get points.
Yep.
100 for first, all the way down to 10 for fifth.
It's a big deal. This is a really important race to kind of sort things out.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so for this deep dive, we are focusing on the predictions and the handicapping insights.
Right.
So we have a few sources for this. We've got Prisnet. We've got Equibase.
Okay.
The Racing Form Report.
Love that one.
And even a study guide.
Well, that's helpful.
Yeah. Very helpful.
Yeah.
So really what we're trying to do here is cut through the noise.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of information out there.
So much.
But what are the key factors? What are the potential outcomes for the Louisiana Derby?
Okay, let's do it.
So first up, you got to look at the morning line odds.
Okay.
And just to give everybody an idea, Build is the favorite at 4-1.
Right.
Right behind him is John Hancock at 7-2.
Okay.
And then Instant Replay at 6-1.
Yep.
Caldera at 5-1.
Right.
And then there are a few others in the mix, you know, Tistastic Chunk of Gold Hypnus, all kind of in that 8-1, 10-1 range.
Sure.
And then, you know, bring up the rear. At least according to the morning line, are Vasmo Furio and Yinser all at 12-1.
All right.
So what's interesting is, you know, the Racing Form Report.
Yeah.
They have Built as their top pick.
Interesting.
And they go into a lot of detail about why they like him so much.
So,
for example, he has the highest prime power rating, which is a 143.2.
Okay.
So prime power, you know, just to give you an idea, that's like a measure of a horse's overall ability.
Right.
It takes into account their speed, the quality of competition they faced.
Sure.
You know, things like that.
Okay.
So a higher prime power generally means a better horse.
Right.
He also has the strongest class rating at 118.3.
All right.
So class rating, that's basically just a measure of the caliber of races that a horse has been in.
Okay.
So a higher rating means that they've been facing tougher competition.
Right. Tougher horses. Okay. Yeah.
And then on top of that,
yeah,
he showed some improved speed in his last race, the Risen Star.
Okay.
But here's a really interesting wrinkle.
Okay.
He's adding blinkers for this race.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And the Racing Form Report actually says if he takes to blinkers, he wins.
Wow. That's a pretty big statement.
Yeah. So blinkers, for anyone who doesn't know, they're basically like these little cups that go on the sides of a horse's head, and they kind of limit their peripheral vision.
Okay.
The idea is to help them focus.
So they don't get distracted by the crowd and the other horses and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So sometimes they can be a real game changer.
Yeah.
But the Racing Form Report does throw in a little bit of a caveat.
Okay.
They say that Built's trainer, Wayne Catalano, has a 0% win rate with first-time blinkers over 13 attempts.
That's not great.
Yeah, it's not a great stat. So that's definitely something to keep in mind.
Okay.
But they also do say that he has really strong late speed. They say he should be rolling late.
Yeah, well, that's good, I guess.
So there you have it with Built.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of potential,
like it.
But also that little bit of a question mark.
Yeah.
Now, the Racing Form Report's second choice is John Hancock.
Okay.
He is number 1.
Got it.
And his odds are 7-2. So he's right up there in the prime power as well with a 139.7.
Okay. Not quite as good as Built, but still very good.
Exactly.
All right.
And he's trained by Brad Cox, who they point out has a very impressive 32% win rate at this meet.
All right, so that trainer is hot right now.
Yeah, Brad Cox is doing very well.
Okay.
And John Hancock himself is undefeated in his 2 starts.
Okay.
Including a victory in the Sam F. Davis Stakes.
All right.
And he had the highest speed figure in his last race, a 97.
Okay, so he's got the speed.
Yep. And he's been working out well, too.
Okay.
So lots of positives.
Sounds like it.
But there is one big question mark.
Oh, no. What is it?
And that is the distance.
Okay.
So this is the longest race he's ever run.
Right.
It's 1 mile and 3/16.
Okay.
And
I
so
wouldn't.
no one knows for sure if he can handle it.
Yeah, does he have that stamina?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
The Racing Form report even kind of speculates that maybe they're not even expecting him to win.
Okay.
Like maybe this race is more about prepping him for the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, interesting. So just getting that experience at the distance.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so their third choice is instant replay.
Okay.
Number 9 at 6-1.
Got it.
And they really emphasize his late kick.
Okay.
They say he has the second best late kick in the field.
Right.
And they think he'll be running hard late.
Okay. So he's a closer.
Yeah.
Right.
He's also trained by Brad Cox.
Oh, okay. So another Brad Cox horse.
Yeah. So, we mentioned Brad Cox is doing very well right now.
She is.
And Instant Replay actually won his last race.
Okay.
At this very track and distance.
All right. Well, that's a big plus.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that's definitely in his favor.
Absolutely.
But they do question the jump-in class.
Okay.
So that last win was in an optional claiming race.
Okay.
Which is a step below a grade 2 stakes like this.
Right.
Was that last race maybe a little bit of a setup?
Okay.
For this tougher challenge? It's hard to say.
Okay.
But they also point out that Flaunt Giroux,
okay,
who is a really good jockey,
all right,
he's riding him.
Okay.
He rides a lot for Brad Cox.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's another good sign for Instant Replay.
Yeah, it sounds like they have a lot of faith in him.
Yeah.
All right.
So those are the Racing Form Report's top 3.
Okay.
But they also mentioned a couple of potential long shots.
Oh, all right. I love a good long shot.
Yeah.
Who are they?
So first up is Vassimo.
Okay.
Number 7 at 12-1.
Right.
And what makes him so interesting is his trainer-jockey combo.
Okay, who is it?
It's Todd Pletcher and Irad Ortiz Jr.
Oh, wow. Big names.
Yeah, big names.
Yeah.
And the Racing Form Report calls them a deadly combo.
All right.
And our briefing information says that Ortiz Jr. has a 27% win percentage.
Yeah, that's very good.
Very good.
All right.
Vassima's also been working out really well.
Okay.
And he's adding blinkers for the first time.
Interesting.
So he hasn't raced that many times.
Okay.
But the report thinks that he could be a major factor.
Okay.
Especially with the blinkers and the strong connections.
There's a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other long shot they mentioned is Caldera.
Yeah.
Number 5 at 5-1.
Got it.
And he's being ridden by Tyler DeFilioni.
Okay.
For Dwayne Lucas.
Oh, wow. Another big name.
Yeah, another legend.
Yeah.
And he actually finished second in the Sunland Derby.
All right.
Which is a $400,000 race.
Okay, so not a slouch.
Not at all.
Right.
So the Racing Form Report thinks that he could be dangerous.
Okay.
Especially if he improves.
Right.
Now, the Racing Form Report also identified one horse as a potential fake favorite.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Who is it?
And that's Tistastic.
All right.
Number 3 at 8-1.
Okay. So they call him a trap play?
A trap play.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's trained by Stephen M. Asmussen.
Yeah, okay.
Who's a very successful trainer.
Yeah.
19% win rate.
All right.
But Tistastic himself hasn't won in his last 3 starts.
Okay.
And his speed figures seem to be going down.
Oh, not good. Yeah.
So the Racing Form Report basically says there are better horses at better prices.
All right. I can see why they call him a trap play then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about, prime power, class rating, speed figures.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just break those down a little bit more for our listener.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we know that Built has the highest prime power.
Right.
But what does that really tell us? Yeah, what does that mean in simpler terms?
Yeah, what does it actually mean?
Okay, so think of prime power as a really sophisticated handicapping tool that combines a lot of different performance metrics into one overall score.
All right.
And a higher prime power means that a horse has consistently performed well across different races, taking into account their speed, the quality of the fields they've faced.
Okay.
Even things like their running style.
Oh, wow.
So Built's high prime power.
Yeah.
It really shows that he has a strong overall body of work.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then class rating.
Yeah.
We also heard that Built is strong there.
He is.
Yeah.
So can you explain that one a little bit more too?
Sure. So class rating is basically a numerical assessment of the caliber of races that a horse has participated in.
Okay.
And a higher rating means that they've been racing against tougher competition Okay, so he's proven himself against some good horses.
Exactly, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, what about speed figures?
Okay.
We know John Hancock had the highest one last time out.
He did. Yeah.
So how do we interpret those?
All right, so speed figures.
Yeah.
They're a standardized way to measure how fast a horse ran in a particular race.
Okay.
And they adjust for things like track conditions.
Oh, okay.
So John Hancock's 97 in his last race.
Yep.
It means that was the fastest performance of any horse in this field recently.
Okay.
It's also worth looking at a horse's best speed at a distance.
Okay.
Which you can often find in Brisnett's data.
All right.
And that basically tells you their fastest performance at or around this distance.
Okay, so in this case, 1 mile and 3/16.
Exactly. And that's particularly relevant for John Hancock.
Yeah.
Given that big question about the distance.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've also touched on the trainers and jockeys.
Yeah.
And it seems like some connections are definitely worth noting. Like Brad Cox.
Yeah.
He has multiple contenders.
Right.
And a very high win percentage.
He does.
So
what does that tell us?
So when a trainer has a high win percentage at a particular meet, like Brad Cox does,
right,
it often means that their horses are in really good form.
Okay.
And well prepared.
Right. So they're doing something right over there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And similarly, a jockey with a strong win rate,
right,
like Erod Ortiz Jr.,
yeah,
that can be a big advantage.
Absolutely.
So when you see a successful trainer and a top jockey paired together,
right,
like Pletcher and Ortiz Jr. on Vassimo,
yeah,
that's always something that handicappers are going to pay attention to.
For sure, yeah.
And it's also interesting to look at kind of the contrasting statistics. And we mentioned Catalano has a poor record with blinkers, even though his overall training record is pretty good.
Right, so sometimes there's these little wrinkles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And just to put it all in perspective, our study guide reminds us that historically, the favorite in these types of races wins a pretty significant percentage of the time.
Yeah, how often are we talking?
Nearly half the time.
Wow.
And they finish in the top 3.
Yeah.
Like 73% of the time.
Okay, so you definitely don't want to completely dismiss the favorites.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Okay, so the blinkers keep coming up.
They do.
Built and Vassimo are both adding blinkers.
Right.
And we talked about, the potential benefits and then also that concerning trainer stat. Built.
Right.
So what's the general handicapping perspective on blinkers?
Okay, so generally, adding blinkers is a move to try to sharpen a horse's focus.
Okay.
And potentially improve their performance.
Yeah.
It can be especially effective for horses that maybe lose concentration or get distracted during a race.
Okay.
But it's not a guarantee.
Right.
And as we see with Catalano's record, it can sometimes backfire.
Yeah, for sure.
With Vassimo, Pletcher doesn't have that same negative trend.
Right.
But it's still an unknown.
Yeah.
You know how the horse will react to the equipment.
Right.
Especially under the pressure of a big race like this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we also heard about a potential speed bias.
Oh, yeah.
On the dirt track at Fairgrounds. So can you explain what that means?
Sure. So a speed bias on a racetrack, especially on dirt routes like this, means that the track conditions tend to favor horses that have early speed.
Okay.
And can get a good position near the front early in the race.
Okay.
And the impact values that Brisnick gives you can give you a more detailed look how different running styles and post positions have been performing recently at the track.
All right.
And the fact that they're talking about a positive impact for early speed and inside posts, it suggests that those horses might have a slight advantage if the bias holds up.
Okay. And then just a quick word on those sharp workouts that we've been hearing about.
Sure.
For several horses.
Yeah, like how much weight should we give those?
Yeah, are those a big deal?
Yeah, so sharp workouts, they're definitely a positive indicator.
Okay.
It means that the horse is fit, healthy, and ready to go.
Right.
Think of it like a final rehearsal.
Okay.
The trainer's happy with how they're looking going into the race.
Right.
And the fact that John Hancock, Vassimo, Built Caldera all worked well recently.
Okay.
That suggests that they're all in good form.
So that's good to know.
Yeah. So we've got early speed horses, those who like to be on the lead. We've got EP, which is early presser.
So they're kind of right off the pace.
Yeah, they like to be just off the pace.
Right.
And then we have P for pacer.
Yeah.
Which is...
So they're also near the front.
Yeah, generally near the front.
All right.
And then S for sustained or closer.
Okay, so those are the horses that come from behind.
Exactly.
All right.
So given the potential speed bias,
right,
how do you think these different styles might fare?
All right, so if there is a strong speed bias,
yeah,
you'd probably expect the horses with early speed to have an advantage.
Right.
Especially if they're starting from inside post positions.
Okay.
Where they can get a good spot early.
Right.
Without covering too much ground.
Right.
Horses that are EP, they can also do well.
Because they can sit behind the leaders.
Right.
And kind of capitalize if the pace slows down a bit.
Okay.
Closers, though.
Yeah.
They're going to need a really fast early pace that tires out the front runners.
Right.
Or they're going to need the track bias to kind of disappear.
Yeah.
To have a chance to catch up.
Right. Okay, so just to bring it all together for our listeners.
Absolutely.
We've got Bill, who looks really strong on paper.
Right.
He's got those top ratings. But there's that concern with his trainer's blinker record.
Yeah.
Then we've got John Hancock.
Right.
Who's undefeated and fast.
He is.
But can he handle the distance?
That's the big question.
And then we've got Instant Replay, who has won at this track and distance, but is stepping up in class.
Right.
So it's a real puzzle.
It is a lot to think about.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it's just, it's interesting to see how these different factors kind of play against each other.
Exactly. Yeah. The high potential of built with the blinkers versus the trainer's history.
Right. The proven talent of John Hancock.
Yeah.
But the unknown of the distance.
Right.
And then Instant Replay, who's so versatile.
Yeah.
But is he ready for this level of competition?
Right.
It's just
a lot of intrigue.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating race.
It is.
And hopefully
you've gained some insight without feeling totally overwhelmed.
Right. We didn't want to overload you with stats.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We tried to give you the key information so that you can sound informed.
Right.
And also make your own judgments.
Exactly. Yeah. Form your own opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So looking ahead to the Louisiana Derby.
Yeah.
It's clear
that
while Bill John Hancock and Instant Replay are the main contenders.
According to the Racing Form report, there are enough uncertainties to make this a really exciting race.
For sure. You've got the blinkers, you've got the distance.
Yeah, the class jump.
The track bias.
It's anyone's guess.
Absolutely, yeah. So this is where we turn it over to you, our listener.
Yeah. Taking into account
all
these expert predictions, all the handicapping factors.
Yeah.
Which horse do you think has the most compelling case to win the Louisiana Derby?
Yeah. Who do you like?
Yeah. And what factor do you think is going to be the deciding one?
Yeah. Is it the blinkers? Is it the distance?
Yeah.
Is it the track conditions?
Something else entirely.
Right.
It's a lot to think about.
Yeah, it is. And hopefully this deep dive has given you a good head start on understanding this race.
Absolutely a lot to consider.
It's a big one.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for diving in with us.
Absolutely.
All right. See you next time.